A telecom tax of 1 kobo per second for GSM calls is to make up funds required to finance free healthcare for the vulnerable group in Nigeria. This is contained in the new National Health Insurance Authority Bill 2021 signed by President Buhari. What is the perception about this bill? Is it a laudable initiative? You're watching Viewpoint on ITV and I'm Blessing Aichi.
For example, we have about, let me say, people that use GSM, they are up to 100 million to 200 million. Collecting one kobo, that is something, a huge amount of money. But for me, do we trust this government for them to use that same money for what they propose to use it for? That is where the question lies. Then who are the vulnerable that they are talking about? Last time we heard about them feeding the primary school. How many primary school did they feed? Because when you want to feed the primary school children, that means every primary school within the country should be fed. That is equity and justice. But today it's not so. Then who are the vulnerable? That is the first question we want to ask ourselves. Is it the government who is unable to call off ASU strike? Or the ASU that is on strike? Or the student that will be thrown to the street? Or the farmer that can no longer go to farm? Or the high cost of living of the masses that is suffering in the midst of abundance? Let us tell ourselves the truth. Because if we tell ourselves the truth, that should be the way to freedom. The present leaders don't mean well for the masses. Whoever mean well for the masses won't begin to tax the people unnecessarily or inflicting more pain on the people compared to what they are suffering now. Do you know that the masses are suffering? The people in the country, they are suffering in the midst of abundance. High cost of living every day. Then you are talking about collecting one kobo from them. Collecting money from the vulnerable to take care of the vulnerable. That's what they are talking about now. Because when we talk about the vulnerable, we mean somebody that can no longer help himself. Like the pregnant women, widows in society, the less privileged. If you are unable to afford what you want, that means you are vulnerable. The lunatics in the street. Those people that are on drugs. In fact, anyone that is not at ease is diseased. That means every 1 or 2 person in society is what? Is not at ease. My own candidate advice is this. I don't support the idea of government taxing the masses to collect 1 kobo from every citizen. Let the government cut down their expenses. The money they use for traveling overseas, if they do travel to overseas for 5 times in a year, let them reduce to once. That money they're supposed to use for overseas, let them use that money, travel allowance, everything, use it to take care of the vulnerable.
The task is okay, but the only problem I have with it is the way and manner our leaders use such funds, where they don't actually make use of the money at the places they were supposed to use it for. I think they said the money will be used for those who are not capable in the society. If they have actually granted a free local government autonomy, let them have their own administrative power. This should have been done at the local government level, but putting it at the central, I don't think it will work. Just as the food for children didn't work, I don't think this will also work. I will advise they scrap the bill, look for alternative means of which these people can be catered for.
Ordinarily supposed to be a laudable policy proposal if indeed the revenues that will be derived therefrom will be utilized judiciously, to provide the services that government claims it wants to provide. But the quarrel we have, or the doubt we have is whether these monies will actually be fruitfully deployed to meet the services or the reasons for which the tax was imposed. There is a lot government can do. There's a lot of revenue available to government to be able to meet whatever service it wishes to render. The problem we have always had is efficiency in utilization of the available resources. I give a typical example. For almost how many months now? For quite a number of months, the university system has been down. Yet we have a running fund, third fund that is supposed to meet some of the needs of the university system. And so it is not enough to talk about raising funds to achieve this objective. Whether the fund will indeed be utilized for that purpose is a different issue altogether. It is going to be additional burden on users of telecom services. Overall, first of all, let the government be trustworthy in the first instance. That is one. 2, The problem we have in this country, which I have said again and again in different fora, is not so much the lack of resources. It is the fruitful and efficient deployment of the resources that are available. If the resources are available are sincerely and genuinely utilized by the government, we will have more than enough. Okay, so my problem has always been that there's so much waste in government. The cost of governance is exceedingly high for no reasons. Some of these costs can be reduced, and then you free resources to meet the needs of other sectors of the economy. For example, it is possible to fund healthcare if government can be sincere in the utilization of available resources.
Why is it that the government shirks all her responsibility as it applies to the people? So what social responsibility is left for government to carry out on behalf of the generality of the people in this country? So it is unheard of that you cannot provide roads, you can't provide water, you can't even provide simple education for the public, and then even the simple phone that everybody pays money for, you now want to tax and even bleed the public. You want to maybe treat the vulnerables as it were and all that you want to bleed Peter to pay Paul and all, but then these same persons make calls. You're also going to take money from them. So how have you been able to help them? We already have NHIS right now. How many persons access healthcare through that? How many people go to hospitals and find drugs? Many of them go for treatment, and although they are told that NHIS does not cover several areas of treatment, but even the few, can you access drugs after treatment? What I see here is another avenue, just like it is in the university where we are, that for TED Fund that was set up, an idea raised by ASU, that TED Fund is now used by government. There's the stamp duty tax, where any withdrawal you make, you are paying some monies to government. And at a point it was over 160 or 50 trillion naira that we have in such an account. And has it been deployed? Has the universities not been on strike for over 3 months now? So what we are seeing here is that because you are involved in policy making, you are the ones in government, you do everything to favor yourself as against the health and welfare of the people who have sent you into power.
To me, it's another strategy by the government of the day to continue to strangulate and extort the Nigerian citizens. We are tired as a people. We are tired of tax. Nigerian government have been collecting monies, different taxes and levies from Nigerian citizens, and they cannot account for the money collected that they'll be collecting from citizens over the years. So coming up with another tax again is going to be a huge burden on Nigerian citizens. We are not happy with the current situation in this country. Coming to tax us again to me is going to be a very serious huge burden on us, considering the economic woes in this country. Nigerians are suffering. Now, over the years, like in a said society, that they said healthcare system is almost free in some countries, and in some other countries of the world is free to the citizens. But here, there is no good healthcare system, and there are several other means of generating money for such purposes. Now, they talked about creating a functional healthcare system for the vulnerables. Now, who are the vulnerables in this country? Do Nigeria have a database? Will the Nigerian government be able to differentiate between the vulnerable and the rich in the society? No, the Nigerian government cannot account for it. Rwanda does not have a database that could differentiate the categories of citizenship in this country. We have seen recently whereby an accountant of a federation was alleged of embezzling 80 billion naira. So as such, we cannot trust the government with our money. Whatever they are coming to collect from the citizens, we end up in the pocket and bank account of the same rich people in the society. So they should leave us alone. You will see in other countries when they collect tax, they use it in return for the citizens that they collect it from. That is social contract. But coming back to Nigeria, the problem we have is not paying tax. What does the government do with the tax? Nothing is wrong with the tax, but the processes, the rationale behind the taxation, what happens to the monies when the tax is being collected? That is the problem.
The initiative to generate funds to provide free healthcare for the vulnerable group in Nigeria, as backed by the new National Health Insurance Authority Bill 2021, is seen as laudable. The problem is the distrust as regards the judicious use of the money at the end of the day. I'm Blessing Aichi.